Okay, another major stimulus proposal has just been released and created, this time by some big names, and I want to share with you what it is. It is a major proposal. But before I do, a lot of people have been requesting that I create a video in which I share whether or not I think that we will actually get another direct payment to American citizens, and I haven't really weighed in on the subject. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to release a video a little bit later today. If you want to see that video, consider subscribing to the channel, turn on the notifications, and I'm going to give you my breakdown of what I think on it. And I'm going to try to use as much facts and data as I can rather than speculation. But let's go ahead and get on this bill here. So on Friday, Senators Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, and Ed Markey released what they're calling their monthly economic crisis support act. And then they sent that off to Politico, which is why we have this information here. Now, remember, this is just a proposal that's being offered up. And let me just say the timing of this is strange because we know that Nancy Pelosi is very shortly going to release her proposal to the House, and obviously the Senate's going to see it, and it's going to be multi-trillion-dollar proposal. And now they're releasing this major stimulus bill proposal, which is in and of itself going to cost trillions of dollars. So what would this legislation do? If it was passed, it would send a monthly $2,000 check to people who make less than $120,000, and it would expand to $4,000 for married couples who file taxes jointly, and then it would expand up to $2,000 more for each child up to 3. So a family of 5 filing joint would receive $10,000 a month. Kamala Harris, who was the joint creator of this bill, said it's a reflection that Congress's efforts so far are not nearly enough to meet the needs of this historic crisis, and they call this a massive cash infusion, the most direct and efficient mechanism for delivering economic relief to those who are most vulnerable. Now, I will say this. Generally, direct payments to individuals is the best mechanism for efficiently supporting them rather than having it trickle through a number of different means. If you've tried to file for unemployment, you know what that's like right now. It's just a terrible process. So a direct payment is certainly the most efficient. Now, $2,000 a month for nearly every single individual a month, that is bold. Eligible individuals would include everyone except any non-resident or alien individual. I think that this is actually an improvement over the ABC Act. Now, I have nothing against those who are here illegally. Obviously, they're people, and for the most part, they're generally just trying to make things better for themselves. However, it shouldn't be a taxpayer's burden to give them $2,000 a month every month. So I do agree that that's actually an improvement on some previous acts. Any individual who can be claimed as a dependent under Section 151, and I'm not even sure, I think it might include 152, but this report here is lacking that. So if you're a legal expert, you'll get into that, but generally anyone who's claimed as a dependent, not including children. An estate or a trust. So those are the individuals that would be left out of this, at least in the early running of the writing of it. Eligibility is also based on income, and the bill states that there's going to be limitations on the adjusted gross income. So basically, as your income goes up, the amount will reduce 10%. But basically, if you make under $120,000, you're going to be receiving nearly the full amount of this. How are the payments going to be made? Because we know the ABC Act is going to be made on a debit card that's going to be preloaded. Are they going the same direction with this? Well, what they're saying is that they're going to be made via direct deposit when possible. So it seems like the IRS is good at doing that about half the time, and half the time they're not. So like the stimulus payments under the CARES Act, the bill would make payments via direct deposit if the IRS has the taxpayer's information on file. So CARES Act 1, you already know if you're watching this how well they're doing with you or not. But if you're on file, they would continue to do it that way. And the proposal also calls for payments to be made through other means determined by the Secretary of the Treasury, including the use of cards and online payment systems. So if they can't get direct debit to your account, then they would use the card, which actually is another improvement on the ABC Act. Rather than issuing out debit cards to everybody, why not offer direct deposit where available, and then where not available, offer people a card or an online way of doing that? Another improvement. Although I'm going to be honest with you. I think that $2,000 a month for an entire year for men, women, and children. I mean, you're talking about giving families $8,000 to $10,000 a month. When you go into negotiations, a tactic that you would use is you don't want to start off with what you actually want. This is not what, maybe this is what they actually want, but they know this is not what they're actually going to get. So start with something 10 times crazier than with what you're willing to accept. So maybe they're willing to accept $1,000 a month for 3 months for all individuals. So let's just start with $2,000 a month for everyone for a year. And by the time we allow people to chip away at the proposal and eventually we act like we're defeated on, oh my gosh, you tore away everything we did, but now we only have $1,000 a month for 3 months. You know what? We'll accept that. Meanwhile, you would have accepted that the entire time, but you don't start there. That's what is going on with this, all right? So you know how the payments are going to be made. How long are they going to be made for? Again, just a proposal here, all right? Timing a little strange, just a proposal. This stimulus, while being proposed now, today, in May, would be retroactive to March 1st, 2020, and would end 3 months after the end of the COVID-19 emergency. So basically, if everything gets signed, say Trump signs this in June 1st, it would be retroactive to March. So March, April, May, June. I have a family of 4. So if they're going to pay me $8,000 a month for me, my wife, and my 2 children, and then they're going to retroact to March 1st, that means my first payment is going to be a $32,000 direct deposit into my checking account. That's incredible to think about that. And then the next month after that, I'd receive $8,000 continuing forward. So you can see how this is a Hail Mary pass. It is not going to make it through. It's going to make splashes everywhere. People are going to be talking about it. But the real news on this is they're trying to offer something that's insane, crazy, huge, so that it can be whittled down to something that everyone would say, oh, see, we got our way here, and we whittled it down to some more direct payments to Americans. Like I said before, if you want to know my thoughts on whether or not we will actually see, American citizens will see another direct payment or a direct deposit or a check in the upcoming CARES 2 Act, consider subscribing to the channel. I'm going to be releasing that episode later today, and I'm going to use facts and logic to try to explain to you where my thinking is with it rather than just sort of speculation. But of course, there's no full way to know except for until when we see these bills and they're debated out. But why not take some thoughts at it and try to figure out what we can most likely expect. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. As always, we will catch you next time.